Hey, what's up, guys? Blaine Duncan here from Halloween Lives, the podcast of Michael Myers, joined, as always, as usual, my weekly co-host, partner, brother. How you doing, buddy? It's Austin. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man.
Dude, hold on. Time out. I start that over. That was fucking stupid. We're not deep enough in. Hey, what's up, guys? Blaine Duncan here from Halloween Lives, the podcast of Michael Myers. Austin and I are already having a good time tonight. We're joking around. It's going to be a fun episode. Honestly, I don't even know what the hell is going on in this episode. Austin has planned this episode out himself. So if it sucks, blame him. If it's awesome, I'm responsible for it. I'm the mastermind behind it. No matter what, we're just happy you're here listening, watching, whatever it is. And we are going to have a lot of fun. So as I said, I'm Blaine Duncan. That's my brother, Austin. We're the hosts of Halloween Lives, a podcast of Michael Myers. We've had a lot of really great messages here in the last week or so. People reached out to us once again. Just had somebody reach out to us and tell us that we are their favorite podcast. Like, how the hell does that work? We never would have expected that. I mean, of all the podcasts out there, that's just such a cool honor, and we appreciate that. So keep the feedback coming. We love it. We're taking every little piece of it and trying to make this thing the best thing possible. So, yeah, man, what's going on tonight?
Oh, dude, I'm pumped. Going on what you just said, we're super close to 200 subscribers. So if you're somebody that watches our videos and you enjoy what we're doing and you haven't subscribed yet, just help us out. It inflates our egos and makes us kind of assholes in our daily lives. So
we
just
walk down the
going.
street. We go to Target. We're like shopping around. People are like, are you the podcast? Are you guys those guys from the podcast? We're like, yeah, that's us. Just please, no pictures.
Yeah, exactly.
We do want to mention though. Well, go ahead and interrupt me. That's fine. No, go ahead. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
No, you go. I think you were going to say what I was going to say. So go ahead.
Well, okay. Well, then maybe we're going to say the same thing. We were going to talk about something that we mentioned that we completely spaced on talking about last week's episode, which is a great freaking episode, by the way. We had a blast with Michelle Dawson coming on the show. Thank you to her once again for obviously joining us, because that was pretty badass of her. It's a great interview, but we completely forgot to mention the fact that we are officially booked. We are going to the Halloween 45 Years of Terror convention, and dude, that is like a trip of a lifetime for you and I. And I am already counting down the days. We're less than 6 months away now. Like 6 months from now, we're going to be into October. It's going to be done. It's going to be over with. We're going to be deep into our, 31 nights of Halloween, talking about all that stuff. But dude, I am stoked to make that trip, and it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. We're going to have to, we'll obviously come up with some ideas, but we're going to definitely have to do some sort of episode while we're out there to show everybody at home.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you and I have already been talking about kind of our plans for the month of October. To put it briefly, it's going to be really fun. Some of the stuff we've got coming down the pipeline, specifically for Halloween time. But yeah, dude, I haven't been to a whole lot of conventions, period, but like, this is going to be the coolest thing in the world. I mean, it's what we talk about all the time. And what a great way to kick off October and,
Sure.
Really get the Halloween spirit going. But, I was actually thinking about that today. Like, we've been doing this podcast, and it almost makes the Halloween blues a little bit better. Like, I'm really getting into, like, damn, it's still 6 months away till Halloween. And like, I want it to be October already, but like, it's been really nice to like dedicate at least an hour of my week to specifically the franchise I love the most. So
I agree.
Yeah.
I always feel like I really get into like the Halloween feeling, like the Halloween season for some reason, like right after the 4th of July hits, because I think you start to see a little bit of the Halloween stuff start to trickle into some stores. Like, I know there's like Michael's and Joanne Fabrics and Hobby Lobby and those kind of stores. They'll start to like put out just a few pumpkin decorations here and there. And then pretty soon by, mid-August, they're getting more of the creepy kind of Halloween, the spiders and the cobwebs and that kind of stuff. And then obviously by September 1st, you're full blown. But I mean, dude, I agree with you 1,000%. This is a way to let out not only our fandom and our appreciation for the Halloween franchise, but just to get over those Halloween blues, because, having a Halloween hangover is it's a shitty way to go through life. So why have it? just join Halloween Lives podcast with Michael Myers on a weekly basis, and you don't have to have a Halloween hangover.
No. I mean, it's
right
seriously, it's like legitimately helping me just get through life until October. But today we're going to be talking about Halloween specifically. And Blaine, you don't know what's going to happen. To be quite honest with everybody, I'm not positive what's going to happen because I'm driving the show today, which is always going to be a troublesome thing. So today we're talking about, and you know this, how to beat Michael Myers. Now, Michael Myers, obviously this character that's died like 11, 12 times in the movies, but nobody can seem to do it. And today, Blaine, you are going to be the main character in this masterpiece of a fan, maybe not a fan film, a true film. This is going to be Miramax. Everybody's dropping it. It's coming out.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Now, I'm the main character of this movie. Am I following you?
Yes, you are the main character. We're going to get a little bit into what your character is going to be. So maybe start, turning the cogs on that. But before we get started, I want to ask you, what's your favorite way, or what's kind of the best way you think Michael has died on camera in a movie thus far in the franchise? We've got 13 movies, 12 of them, including Michael Myers. What was kind of the best death of Michael Myers for you?
Ooh, that's tough. I'm just going through them all in my head here, like just very briefly. I would have to say, like, putting the gun to my head and just asking this question. I would probably have to say it would be a toss-up between H2O when he gets his head cut off, assuming that was Michael, right? That's not the paramedic, assuming that that's Michael. And then I would have to say, it's almost a little bit of a tie between 2018 and Ends, because, when you saw 2018, you didn't know if there was going to be more. So you just assumed, Laurie had trapped Michael. She burned him to the ground with the house. But then obviously, she didn't. You found that out when Kills came out, right? But I would say those two, and then obviously just the processional and the whole scene of Halloween Ends. I really like that. I didn't like, obviously, the fact that there's no more Michael Myers, that the David Gordon Green trilogy is over. I don't necessarily like that because I want more Michael. But as we've talked about, there needed to be that ending to that trilogy. So I do like that as well. But I think if you were going to really put a gun to my head, I think it'd be H2O. I liked it. It was so unexpected. And I remember the first time seeing it, I was like, damn, okay, well, that just about wraps this up, right? I mean, that was the end of it. And then obviously they came back with, as a paramedic, and you had the whole, the whole scene in Resurrection where he swaps the mask and all that shit. But yeah, man, I would have to say H2O would probably be my favorite. What about you?
So I was kind of kicking around the same ideas. I didn't want to do Halloween Ends because it's a little too recent and kind of like it's almost a cop-out because there's no way you can beat, the meat grinder or whatever the hell he goes into, the garbage thing. And so for me, I was actually thinking about Halloween 4. I love the way he goes down in that, kind of sinks into a grave. I think it's very like, it's so like spooky and Halloweeny. I just love that that's the way he goes down. But obviously the way he actually dies is through a firing squad of like rednecks. And that part's a little tough. So I would agree with you on the H2O thing. I think it's probably the most like fulfilling just seeing Laurie take his head off with an axe. But I think, for me, it's kind of tied between H4 and H20 or, H2O.
H2O, yeah.
So that's kind of what I want you to think about of like, what makes those deaths, sort of stick out to you, as you enter the Halloween franchise as yourself. So I want to lay down a couple of ground rules before we really get into this. Okay. This film that we're talking about here.
No nudity.
Well, I'm going to have to strike off a couple on the list. First of all, anthology film. This is not connected to any sort of universe. We are talking about sort of a solo Michael Myers movie where, classic, the Shape is coming to Haddonfield and killing people, and he's this unstoppable force. You are lucky enough to be the main character in this film. But that is the story. It's very basic, kind of take kills minus Lori and Allison and Karen. And number two of the two ground rules is Michael isn't necessarily superhuman. I think there are, especially with the Thorn trilogy, he's kind of this guy that they say like he can't enter hell. He's just stuck on Earth and he can't really be killed. We're not really talking about that. What I kind of had in mind was sort of the H2 1981 Michael, who's, clearly he can take some hits, but he is still mortal. He is still a man. He's just a man who still walks after getting shot 6 times.
Okay, so in this, I am fighting the Dick Warlock version of Michael Myers. Is that right?
Potentially. So that is actually going to be your first. I briefed you on this before the episode, and you kind of said, "Is this kind of like a choose your own adventure thing?" And that actually is question number 1 I have for you is, which Michael would you most want to go against in this series? I'm going to exclude the cave Michael from Halloween Ends, because if Corey can take him, I have good faith in you. I think you can take Cave Ends, or Cave Michael in Ends.
Sewer Michael,
yeah. So which would be, first of all, I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? Because you want a badass Michael that you're going up against, but you also want somebody that, you might be able to stand a chance against.
I would have to say, and it's, I would probably have to say, oh boy, I would probably have to say H2O again, to be honest with you. That's who I'm going to go. He seems like the most beatable, sort of human version of Michael Myers. I would probably go H2O.
H2O. I actually, when I was thinking about this, now this is about you, but I was thinking H2O would be a good one because he does, like you're saying, seem very human. He's kind of a little bit more like, just a guy who's on a mission rather than this like supernatural being. So I totally agree with you there as far as H2O Mike being the guy you're going against. So and that's no knock on Christopher Duran, because we love Christopher Duran in that role of Michael Myers. But he just the way that story plays out, the way it was written, and what we see on the screen or what we got, I would have to say H2O. And I gotta imagine Tyler Maine's got to be like the bottom of the list here, right?
Tyler Maine would be pretty brutal. I mean, I think it's pretty much like a toss up between like the Tyler Maine version of Michael Myers and the Halloween Kills James Jude Courtney version of Michael Myers, because he was brutal in that movie as well. But Tyler Maine probably has a beat out. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's kind of one of those things where if Tyler Maine himself was coming after me, I'd be in deep shit as well. Now give him the ability to get shot 6 times. Big trouble. Right. So the second question I have as Blaine Duncan enters the Halloween franchise as the newest, front-faced character of the series is what kind of character would you want to be in that series? Now, I know who I am. I'm getting knocked out in maybe the first few scenes of the movie. I'm the comic relief character who opens up a door and gets stabbed right through the face. Now, I know that, but I think I see a little bit of Final Girl in you.
Ooh. Well, I do look pretty good in a pair of, really tight pants. So I would agree with you that there could be some Final Girl in me. I would say like, do you want me to identify as a character in the like a character that, like, do you want me to describe who I would be in the movie, or do you want me to identify maybe more with the character that we've seen in the series?
So I was gonna say, kind of like, take a spin on a character that we've seen in this series. And obviously, like, if you think you're the most like Laurie, it doesn't matter. You don't have to pick the guys in the movies, because usually the guys are pretty dumb. So who do you think you would be?
Oh boy. I'm gonna go right now with the Paul Rudd version of Tommy Doyle. Because I'm a little weird. I watch my neighbors through my windows. I have weird shit up on my walls. I'm obsessed with Michael Myers. I'm gonna go Tommy Doyle. Maybe a little fucked in the head. Maybe, I don't know. I'm gonna go Tommy Doyle.
That is a way better. Like, I think that's a perfect answer for you. I'm going to go with me here. I don't know necessarily who I'd be. And I'm struggling to think of his name now, but the kid that dresses
Oscar?
like the devil. Yes. Holy shit. Yeah. You knew exactly which.
Psychic too. Not only my Tommy Doyle, I am also psychic.
That just means too, that's who I would be in Halloween, is that kid with the chapped lips who gets murked outside of Mr. Elrod's house. No, that when I saw that character, I was like, I thought, that would be me.
You'd look fantastic with some sort of something like just completely poking through your jaw. That'd be a good look for you.
Yeah, I think that's probably about where in the film I would go down. But yeah, I kind of agree. As Paul Rudd, he's not the final girl, but he is the final girl in that movie.
Right.
So now we get into sort of how we beat Michael Myers. And I'm going to say for the case of this story, you get one weapon. Now, I don't want your attack plan yet. That's going to come. But what sort of weapon and what have been your favorite weapons that have been used in the series to fight Michael with? Mm-hmm. Obviously, in like age 6, we've got lots of like medical equipment, and lots of fun ways that characters have gone up against Michael. But how would you want to arm yourself against the Shape?
I feel like it would have to be, I mean, obviously, if you were going to, using a gun would be the most logical explanation or logical answer, because, you have like a sawed off shotgun to blast him to hell. That would be the obvious. Yeah, right. I'm not going to go with a gun, because I think that's too easy. But I think if I were to like pick my weapon, like my zombie apocalypse weapon, I think I would go with like an axe, because, and the reason why I say that is because, you have something that you can swing, obviously, to keep him at bay, but you can't let it be a baseball bat. You can't let it be like a pipe or something like that, because Michael seems like he has a really good way of just grabbing onto stuff. Now, he could obviously grab onto the axe too, but if he misses, whatever it might be, he's going to take an axe to the neck, to the chest, to the arm, whatever it might be. So I would say a really sharp axe would be my weapon of choice.
Totally. And it makes sense. We've talked about how H2O was, obviously that's how Michael meets his ultimate demise in that film, is with just a classic axe. So yeah, I think that's a good choice. I'm not really sure what I would roll with if I was going against Michael. I think I legitimately, if I wanted to stand a single chance, I would need at least like an anti-aircraft missile to even survive the first 10 minutes of a Halloween film. But yeah, I think an axe is pretty cool, kind of a badass, final girl weapon. So I'm happy. Right. That's
like the cover could have my face with the axe, and like Michael shining his face shining off the axe. I'm already seeing this.
Good, because this is going to be important, because we're going to talk about next sort of what your attack plan would be. Now, what if your character knows Michael's coming? Maybe you go full Rambo Laurie and you've got a house that's built with contraptions and all sorts of shit. But I'm gonna say maybe you're not. Maybe you're somebody who's maybe like a doomsday prepper or somebody who's prepared a little bit for a physical combat. But this is still going to be something pretty new to you. So, when it comes to your strategy against Michael, what would be sort of the key attack plan that you would have?
I would probably say that I would make Michael come to me. Michael would fight on my terms in my house. I wouldn't go looking for Michael because I feel like when you open that door, he has opportunities to surprise you, to hide, whatever it might be. So I'm going to make Michael come to me. And I'm going to go, I'm thinking, again, I'm going back to Tommy Doyle, Halloween 6. I'm in my upstairs bedroom window. I've got a good view of everything that is going on out in front of me. I can look down on the yard. I can see the Myers house across the street, keep a good eye on that. And I'm making Michael come to me.
I like it. So he gets into the house. I mean, what do you do once he's in the house?
Murder him, baby. Murder him. I just straight up death. No,
right,
man. You gotta. I mean, he comes up the stairs. Maybe I pile some shit up on the stairs, so he's got trouble, clearing it out. And as he's getting stuff out of the way, I axe him right in the head.
I like it.
Over backwards. He's done.
I like it. Yeah, I think that's kind of a foolproof way to do it.
The lights are flickering.
Well, it's spooky season, baby. Halloween Lives, the podcast of Michael Myers. No, I think. For me, realistically, if I was the final girl in your situation, you don't want to go full Home Alone, trap in the house like Laurie Strode did. But I think I'd like to think, maybe I'd have a better escape plan than some of the characters. Obviously, we all know don't run upstairs. You're starting out upstairs, which is kind of tough.
Yeah. You take the higher ground. It's all strategic. It's warfare, baby. You want to be up high, shooting down, not shooting up. That's you. You make Michael come to you, make him go up the stairs, whatever it is. Maybe you go to the attic. You make him climb up that little freaking. The attic stairs that you can pull down out of the ceiling. He pokes his head up to take a look, and you freaking murk him. Done.
That's a really good point. I don't know how that's never happened in a Halloween movie. Aren't they up in the attic in H4? Yeah,
for a part of it. Yeah,
They never came up. Okay.
They never. Yeah.
So the last question I have would be, what would you do to then make sure now you've killed Michael, he's on the ground, presumably you said you hit him in the head with an axe.
Yeah.
What would you then do to sort of make sure that he's dead? Because a lot of the times in these movies, Michael will get killed and people just kind of walk away like, oh, he's dead, that's good. And obviously then he comes back in the sequel. What are you doing to ensure that a sequel does not happen?
I think you gotta burn them somehow. I mean, that's kind of the problem is I don't think you can ever really kill Michael Myers. You know what I mean? Like, we've seen him burned, we've seen his head cut off, we've seen him thrown into in the junkyard, metal trash compactor deal. You've seen all this shit done to him, and he still finds a way to come back. So I don't think there really is a way to ensure that he doesn't come back. But I would say if I smoked him in the head with my axe, he tumbled down the stairs backwards, I'm dragging his ass out to the backyard, I'm building a big ass bonfire, and I'm gonna roast him like a marshmallow.
Dude, I genuinely think, like, if I was in this scenario, and I guess if I was aware a little bit of who Michael Myers was, as fucked up as it sounds, I think I would literally cut his hands off, his head off, and put it in a blender and make sure it's nice and chopped up and like spread his body parts across the United States, just to make sure like nothing like that ever happens again.
Just like basically Mel Gibson Braveheart him, lay him out on the table, take his guts out in front of him, castrate him, whatever they did to him, pull him apart with horses and shit. And then they talk about how they sent his head to the London Bridge and they sent his legs over here and whatever. It's the same thing. It's a warning sign to your enemies. Do not mess with me. This is what I did to Michael Myers. Do not mess with me. I'll cut your head off. I'll cut your arms off. I'll cut your legs off. And you're going to have your head posted on the London Bridge. And there's nothing you can do about it because I just killed Michael Myers.
And then you're ready to take on Jason. You're ready to take on Freddy. You're ready to take on Leatherface.
Right. Exactly. Bring all the serial killers at me. Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy. You kill Michael Myers. And I feel like it's all downhill from there. I don't feel like there's like a lot of, I feel like Jason would be tough because he's a badass, especially like zombie version of Jason, who's already technically dead. I feel like that would be tough, really tough to do. It'd be tough to fight somebody in a dream. I think Leatherface, you just smoke that dude with a car or something. That wouldn't be that hard, but I think you take care of Michael and I think it's smooth sailing from there.
No, totally. And that was something I was thinking about early on when we were talking is we've never had like outside of, I guess, if you want to say that the Thorn trilogy, like an actual supernatural Michael Myers. Like we've never like talked about, on screen that like, for example, in Friday 6, he gets, his grave is struck by lightning. He was dead and now he has resurrected. We've never really had like a Michael Myers that has been brought back to life. It's more so, you could just never kill him. And that's why like the argument of is he immortal and all of these things is still, I think, possible because you never get like a zombie Michael Myers.
No, I mean, realistically, the closest thing that we ever had to a like zombie Michael was probably part 4 when he was burned up. Like that was probably like the closest we were. Not that he was dead, but he was disfigured, and you saw that disfigurement, and you saw it in his hands. And obviously, you got that in part 5 too. But that was realistically probably the closest. I mean, obviously, in Kills, his face is burnt up and stuff too, but. I don't think they tried to necessarily sell it as much as they did in part 4, in my opinion, at least.
No, I don't think there's, sort of a single time where obviously by the end of Halloween 1978, he got shot 6 times, probably shouldn't be alive, but they always allow you to kind of suspend your belief rather than thinking like, okay, now we're actually dealing with like this resurrected creature that's, sort of impossible to kill. I think the grounds for a good Halloween movie, as far as Michael is, he's got to be at least somewhat mortal. Otherwise, what are we doing here? Right.
Well, and I think that's the appeal to Michael is, maybe outside of Leatherface and Texas Chainsaw Massacre is Michael is human. I mean, Michael is, I guess like the Ghostface and Scream is human. But comparing him to obviously Freddy Krueger, who was burned and now is, dead and, burned up. And he now is only able to really operate and hunt people down in their dreams. And then you have Jason Voorhees, who, yes, he was dead. I mean, like you said, part 6, he was in his grave. He got whacked in the head with the machete at the end of, the part 4. And you had this zombie Jason who came to life, and that's what you saw in 6, 7, and I guess 8. I mean, I don't know how you want to look at it. I guess he was sort of zombified, I guess, in 8. And then, I think it's one of those things where I would prefer. I don't think I ever want to see Michael go down that road. I like the idea that he's human. I don't want to see like the mask disintegrated and bones sticking through his face and, nasty worms and shit coming out of his eyes. Like, I don't want to see that. I like the fact that he's human. I like the fact that there's that human, that human aspect to him. And it's like, it goes back to is he a man or is he the supernatural figure?
Right. I think keeping that question alive is sort of what separates the Halloween films for me from a lot of the other slashers, because like you're saying, like the stakes with Jason are way different. And I think truly the horror, the spooky element, it's more scary to me. As crazy as it sounds to say, like a regular man is more scary than a zombie, but I think it is the case in Michael Myers that for me, the idea of somebody snapping and going on this rampage, and in the newer movies, in this case, for 40 plus years, to me, that's a little bit scarier too. Trying to figure out what drives this guy, rather than, well, he's a zombie and he's just going to kind of kill everything in his path.
Right. Because how do you, I mean, that's kind of the thing is like with Jason, how do you kill something that's already dead? Like it's almost pointless in a way. Where Michael, you do have that human nature to him, and you're like, well, okay, well, you can kill him, right? But then you see him get shot 6 times, you see him get burned, you see him get blown away by the cops at the end of Halloween 4. Like that is all you see, all these things happen, and then you're like, but he still lives. So and obviously you're talking different timelines, you're talking different ideas and directors and everything else that goes into it. But I prefer that to how do you kill a dead guy?
Totally. And I think you bring up a good point. Like it's probably a large part of why we have so many timelines, because how many times can you see Michael go down in a singular timeline and he doesn't actually die?
Right.
I think eventually you kind of write yourself into a box, and that's something that I appreciate about the new trilogy, with the way that they handled Michael's death. Now, obviously, he doesn't die on screen in Halloween Kills. They leave it open for that final chapter. He gets his ass beat, but he doesn't die. But I do like the way that they went down in Halloween 18, because kind of like what you were saying is like when you watch it, it's like, I guess that's how he goes down. But I think when I was watching it, it was kind of like, well, it's kind of lackluster. We've seen Michael get burned alive before, but it all kind of played a piece into his actual final death. So it makes the movies, it becomes difficult for these writers to find ways to end the film, but keep Michael alive.
Right. Well, and that's the thing is, not only how do you find a new way to kill Michael that hasn't been done in one of the previous movies, but how do you find a new way to kill Michael that hasn't been done in any other franchises? You know what I mean? Like you could never, and this is more of how Michael or how Jason came to be resurrected. Like you could never have a scene where Michael gets a stake jammed into his chest when he's laying in the ground and he gets hit by lightning and he comes back to life, because everybody would be like, shit, they did that in Jason Lives, So yeah, I mean, it does take a lot of thought and effort to go into what can we do that's creative? What can we do that's somewhat believable? And how can we portray this out to a really broad group of people that are going to buy into the idea of how we're about to kill this dude? And that's why, I do think I like the way that they did it in Halloween Ends. It was different. It was outside the box. There was finality to it. There was, fill in the blank, right? I mean, there was a lot that was done to make sure that they showed Michael's done. He's dead. He's not coming back. This is the end. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that as from what the filmmakers were doing, but then also just from a fan perspective of they were really trying to wrap up what they were doing, put a bow on this thing and put it in a box, deliver it to the world and say, hey, this is our trilogy, like it or not. This is how he's going out.
Totally. And I think as time goes on and as we get more and more sequels, reboots, etc. of the Halloween series, it is going to kind of get creatively difficult for the creators of these films to end the movie in a way that doesn't feel cheap. I mean, you want to kill Michael Myers, but you want to do it. Outside of ends, every sort of death was, I think somehow it was contractually obligated that Michael can't actually die. Like there kind of has to be a plan to get Michael out of that scenario. But after a while, I mean, that's gonna feel cheap. So how do you do it in a way that it doesn't feel like you're underestimating your audience or leaving the door open for an eventual sequel? I think it's a really tough thing to do.
Well, and that's why, I remember staying until the end of the credits at the end of Halloween 2018. And I had already read that people were like, hey, stay to the end, stay to the end, stay to the end. So you knew something was coming, but then they had that breathing. I thought that was a really cool touch because it was like, oh yeah, we're going to get more. And they had already kind of talked about that if it was successful, they were going to do more. I don't know. I don't remember if they had said at that point, if they were going to do, another 2 or what, just another film or whatever it was going to be. But you knew it was like, okay, he lives, and that was cool. I love that.
Yeah, no, I think, I would love to see a world where, maybe people don't come in with grand plans for a trilogy. And if they do, that's awesome. But if we're just doing one-off Michael Myers movies every couple of years, you do kind of have to kill him so the movie feels complete, but also sort of give a way out for an eventual next director to take over from that point.
Right. No, exactly. Yeah, I agree. Well, I think, I think Michael Myers taking an axe to the head as he's coming up the attic stairs and then his body being dragged out, burned alive. That's how I'm doing it. That's how this Tommy Doyle, Blaine Duncan character is going to kill Michael Myers.
Well, I wanted to say, like, as far as like, my idea for how to kill Michael Myers, I think you did better than I expected you to. And I think you're very, very worthy of the final girl role. Not Dude, that I didn't expect you to.
It's because I have no life and I just sit in my house and I'm like, how could I kill Michael Myers? What could I do? I could hit him in the head with an axe. I could, like wrap him up in a fishnet, throw him to the bottom of the ocean. That's the kind of shit that runs through my mind during the day. So, well, you could throw all kinds of questions at me, and I'm probably like, dude, I thought of that like 4 years ago, bro. That's nothing new.
That was kind of what I experienced. I was like, damn, he's like way more prepared and like not giving out hypotheticals. You were like, I'm going to be upstairs. I'm going to kill him with the fucking axe and he's going to be dead. I'm going to make sure by making sure he's dead. No, you were on top of it, man. I was like thinking for me, and this is probably says a lot about me as a man, but I just don't know what I would do. I think I genuinely, because I know you, think you probably would stand a chance against Michael Myers, but like the majority of people who think that way would get their ass handed to them, just like I know I would. It would be, I've always said if I have a gun and one bullet, I am doomsday prepared, and I think that would be the case with Michael Myers. You can run, but no matter how fast you run, Michael walks faster. So would you rather be would you rather at the, let's say you're in the movie now and you're at the final act and you've been a badass character, you've done awesome. Would you rather go down as like a hero and be killed, or go out as a final girl, so to speak, but maybe not be praised as much for your role in the film? So yeah, that's kind of that's a great question. I think you look back at Tommy Doyle in Halloween Kills. Clearly the dude was a badass. Despite we've talked about the writing for that character. But he wasn't the one. He was kind of the most prepared, ready to fight. But he got murked just like the chick with the toaster in that scene. So that's tough because, you know, what would I love to go out like? Definitely not like Karen. I think that one is just tough because she kind of built up this thing and then just kind of gets smoked from behind. Ooh, that's tough. I think for me, I think I would choose the heroic death. I'd love to, like, you know, if my friends were running, you know, it's kind of like when a bear is chasing, the slow guy is gonna die. So I think I'd at least give a punch to the bear. So, you know, if I could save a couple people or you know, spare their lives for a few more minutes, I'd love to go after Michael myself. I think if I was going after Michael with a weapon that wasn't, you know, an anti-aircraft nuclear device, I'd love to just take a baseball bat like Tommy Doyle. Though I think that is a good way to go about it. You can get some good swings in, and like I said, save some people some time. But no, I think I would rather go down as the hero than sort of have a lackluster life career after Michael Myers. How about you?
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, I think, you know, I think to go out as a hero, you know, like you said, we've talked about the fact that we didn't necessarily care for the Tommy Doyle character in Halloween Kills. And, you know, had nothing to do with Michael Anthony Hall. Like he was a great actor, and there is a great actor, and liked his performance. It was just the writing, I think, was really tough. Didn't care for some of his lines. Obviously, the whole scene at the bar where he's telling the story about the boogeyman and all that shit, like, it was too over the top. The evil dies at night bullshit, all that. We've discussed that before, right? But I think, honestly, for me, one of the things that surprised me the most was just the fact that Tommy Doyle died in Halloween Kills. Like, I think he was such a hero. Like, he did such a good job in that film of being a hero and carrying that film as the leader of the mob, right? And he did a really good job of that. I wasn't expecting for him to die at the end of Kills the way that he did. And even Judy Greer's death as Karen, you could see what was happening as she went upstairs. It was like, oh shit, she's gonna die too, you know? And but both of those deaths really shocked me because I expected for them to be carried on. Like, I would have almost rather have seen the Lindsay Wallace character die, because she really didn't do much in Halloween Ends. You know, I mean, there was just very little to it that, you know, she was like a bartender who does tarot card readings now. It was like, okay. Right. I mean, yeah, okay, cool. I would rather have seen them expand on that character more in Ends. I mean, I'm not saying I wish she had died in that movie. I'm just saying, like, if they're going to bring her into Ends, then expand on that character more.
I totally agree with you. It's kind of like they brought those two characters in for no real reason. I would have loved to see more, especially like what you're saying with Lindsay. But yeah, no, I was kind of shocked too that they brought Tommy in to kill him. But yeah, overall, Blaine, I gotta grade your survival rate with Michael Myers. I would say pretty good. I think
I'm at least in the 80% of Rotten Tomatoes.
I think you're at least going down like the dude with the shotgun in H4.
Nice.
You know,
yes.
you could get a few. Yeah, Brady. I think you could get a few shots in with Mike. Maybe kill him, but even if you die, like we're talking about, you're going down as the hero. So thank you for indulging in my little sort of Blaine Duncan Halloween experiment here.
It's fun to think about.
You've done very well. Yeah.
It's fun to think about, but like I said, I've thought of this shit my entire life. I mean, this is nothing new. I'm laying awake at 2:00 in the morning thinking of how I would kill Michael Myers. I mean, it's like that meme, you know, that meme where it like shows the husband and the wife laying in bed, or the guy and the girl laying in bed, and she's like, "Oh, I'm sure he's thinking about other women," and he's like, "Why do my farts smell like cheese?" You know, it's like that right, sort of like that sort of thing, like that. But that's me. I'm laying there going, you know, why did you know this happen in part 6 and not in part 7? Like, those are the things that I'm thinking of.
Totally. No, I think we are the same level of crazy. But like I said, good job. We're gonna shift gears here into you know, one of our recurring segments is I scour the internet every week for shit to inspire me as I'm rehauling masks. I'm just finishing up this Halloween 18 mask, and I'm going to be doing a full tutorial on how I did it on this channel.
Looks awesome so far.
Thank you very much. You can't really see too much going on, but it's getting there. I think I could take a few pointers though from this fan of the week that we have here, and this is on one of the Facebook groups I'm active in. It is the Michael Myers and Halloween Enthusiast page on Facebook, and this is the Spock Myers by Hannah Santiago. And dude, it's crazy because obviously, right, like they chose the William Shatner Captain Kirk is his Star Trek name. But you know, you got to imagine right next to it at whatever shop they got it from was this mask right here. And I love this idea, dude. I love when people take other masks that were not supposed to be Michael Myers and do them up like this, because this actually looks pretty good, man. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously the biggest thing is the ears. If you didn't have the Spock ears, the spiky, or the ears that come to a point, it would be a pretty creepy mask. Like, honestly, get rid of the ears, and I'll take this mask over Halloween 5. I would take this over Halloween 5 all day long. Maybe even a couple others. I don't know, but yeah, it's a cool idea. I agree. I like when people have like a different outside the box, thinking or concept ideas where they merge, different movies or different ideas or whatever it might be together. And yeah, man, you're totally right. I mean, I'm sure when Tommy Lee Wallace went to try to find that, a mask, he probably looked and he saw the Spock mask, and he also saw the William Shatner, Captain Kirk mask, and he went, let's not do the pointy ear thing. Let's go with this. It's much more, featureless in a way. So yeah, that's super cool. That's a very cool idea. And I guarantee you something like that, if somebody wanted to go through and start making masks like that, there are collectors who would definitely buy something like that just because it's such a unique piece.
Oh, totally. And, it genuinely looks like somebody put like the full rehaul effort into this, Hannah Santiago, I guess. But like, how cool. I don't know. It's kind of like last week's where it was kind of this concept mask. This is another kind of just weird one that you might not find in every collection. And I don't know. It caught my eye and I really liked it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very creative. And I think that just goes to show the fandom. And we've talked about it a lot. But I mean, fans are so obsessed with this movie or the series. And then obviously to have an idea like that for somebody to go, wow, they had two different masks back then. There was the Spock mask, there was a Captain Kirk. What if somebody had done this instead of this? I mean, realistically, that is what we would have gotten. Like I said, I dig that mask better than the Part 5 for sure, and maybe a few others. Get rid of the pointy ears, and I'm all in.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I think if you covered it up with some hair, I think you've got yourself a pretty solid Michael Myers mask. And I guarantee if you went out on the street wearing that mask, people are just going to think you're Michael Myers. They're not going to have any idea.
Yeah, dude, for sure. Yeah, I mean, they would just think it's, I mean, any fan or halfway decent fan you're right. They would just be like, oh, that's Michael Myers. I mean, you got the coveralls, the jumpsuit, and you're wearing the white mask with the hair, the dark hair. Yeah, I mean, that'd be Michael Myers. So it's a cool mask. I could see there being a lot of interest in that just because the fandom is so big and creative, and no, that's super cool.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'd love to. Oh, go for it.
No, I was just going to say that's actually kind of a good segment or roll into, because we are going to be having next week on the show. We're going to be having Connor from Creepy Customs, who I'm sure a lot of people out there who listen to our show know that Connor creates literally the best coveralls. I have some. We did an unboxing video, but the best coveralls of the Halloween series. He does a wide variety of different versions. And we're gonna get Connor on the show, and that's gonna be a lot of fun. Just because I want to hear, number one, I want to hear about his desire to do that and his idea to start this company. But I just want to hear how he became a fan that was big enough that said, "Dude, I'm gonna make a business just on this." I think it's gonna be a fun episode.
Well, it's crazy, man. I've heard of him obviously, and I know you have his stuff, but like I'm a part of all these different Facebook groups or Discord or Reddit groups, and anybody talks about doing coveralls these days, you're gonna see a comment for Creepy Customs in there. Like it's crazy how big of a name and how good that brand has already become in the Halloween world. So yeah, I'm super pumped to talk to him and get a little bit of an insight on, you know, how his process goes on. But yeah, that'll be a really fun episode. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, dude, he's a cool guy. We've talked to him a little bit already, and he's excited to come on the show and share with us all that. But yeah, man, it was a fun episode. I mean, it was you got some outside the box thinking of how a movie could potentially go, coming up with new ideas to kill off Michael Myers. But I think at the end of the day, Halloween lives, Michael Myers lives. You're never going to be able to kill the boogeyman. And quite honestly, we don't want that, right? We don't want Michael gone.
No.
We've talked about that. We don't want him gone. We keep giving us Michael, and we'll keep doing these episodes. But yeah, man, it was fun. It was a fun idea.
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately, if you want to beat Michael Myers, wait till November 1st, and you should be good.
Right. Yeah, we'll just wait till daylight, sun up on November 1st, and you'll be fine. Then you get 364 days to kind of chill out, relax, and that's 365th day. You're like, oof, fuck, I better, I'll take a trip to Cancun or something.
Exactly.
Yeah. Maybe that's what I should have said the whole time. Like, how would I beat Michael? I would get on an airplane and I would fly away. That's how I'd beat Michael.
You just wave at him.
I've never seen Michael fly. I've just seen him walk really, really slow. I mean, it'd be like It Follows. It'd be like that movie where it would take him 17 years to walk to Cancun, but he would eventually get there. And then by the time he gets there, you just be like, hey, I'm out, going this way.
You take another flight. Yeah, you go back.
Right. Yeah, fly off to Denver or New York or wherever and just be like, see you, dude. But all kinds of creative ways, man. That was fun. Good outside the box thinking. We're excited to come back next week with another episode of Halloween Lives, the podcast. Michael Myers will have Connor from Creepy Customs, as we said. Thank you guys always, as always, for the support. We love it. We love hearing from you guys. Please like, follow, subscribe, hit us up on YouTube. Make sure if you are watching on YouTube, you're subscribing. It lets us know that you like what we're doing. We're getting really close to 200 subscribers, which I never would have thought. Going back even just a couple months when we started this show. So it's a great fan base. We appreciate you guys so much. And we're so excited to keep bringing episodes to you. And we're going to start that again next week with Connor from Creepy Customs. So I'm Blaine Duncan. That is my brother, Austin. You guys have been watching, listening to Halloween Lives, the podcast of Michael Myers. We'll see you next time.